how do we deal with this problem, especially when meron tayong um, rational expression. So remember, sinabi ko before, pag meron tayong rational expression and then yung degree ng ating numerator is greater than the denominator, so we can always perform long division. But remember, this is only applicable sa polynomial function. Kapag meron na yung kasamang cosine of x or e raised to x or any kind of meron din yung ano ba ba? Yan yung mga ganon or logarithm. So, hindi na yun pwedeng applyan ng ganon ha. So, make sure na it's just a polynomial function of algebraic expression. So, let's proceed with long division. So, we have, bakit daw long division? Kasi, hindi mo naman pwedeng synthetic kasi wala ka naman factors dyan na dinidivide. Diba, synthetic division is only applicable for those na meron, alam natin yung certain factors or we're trying to find the factors. But in this case kasi, we don't have to find the factors kasi lalabas naman yun dito sa long division, and as well as our goal is to simplify this into a proper fraction. So with this, we have x squared. Okay. Nakakatawa lang kasi di ba may algebra kayo before? Then long division. Actually elementary algebra to eh. And then aralin niyo yung trigo and then solid geometry. Parang walang application tong long division doon sa mga math na yon. And then dito na siya sa integral calculus magja-jump ulit yung application. So parang ang layo-layo nung niya. Ang layo nung application niya. Anyway, so x to the fourth minus x cubed. Kaya yung iba minsan hindi na marunong ayun, kagaya nito. Hindi na marunong mag long divide. So I forgot to mention that kailangan mong ilagay ngayon yung, kasi diba this one is 4, 2, and then 0. So we need to incorporate kung ano ba yung mga coefficients nung wala ditong term. So that will be 0x cubed, diba? And then plus x squared. Then of course yung plus 0x plus 1. Or you can just leave an empty space here. Pwede naman yun. So minus, okay? So maging ganyan siya, diba? So with this, alam naman natin na 0x cubed minus negative, ay wait lang, kulang pa pala ako. Ulitin natin dito ang portion na to. So we have x to the fourth, so x to the fourth, and then minus x cubed plus x squared. So you can subtract now this, and then this one becomes positive x cubed, no? And then this one will be 0x squared, and then this one is 0x, and then of course this is plus 1. So let's just have it here. And then dividing this x cubed sa x squared. So remember, hindi itong buong term na to ha, ito yung divide natin. Actually, yung buong term naman. Pero 'di ba, when we try to divide we do long division sa polynomials, ang tinetek lang natin lagi sa ating dividend nga ba? Sorry ha, baka mali ako doon. Tagal na kasi nung elementary pa ata tayo nag-dividend divisor. So, pero I think dividend yan. So, yung dividend lagi natin, diba? Ang tinetake mo lang is yung first term. And then yung sa divisor, yung first term, which is arranged in decreasing order ng ating exponent. Anyway, so we have plus x. Okay, so plus x, and then we have x cubed. And then minus x squared. Okay, and then plus x. Okay. So with this, you can now subtract this, no? And then magiging positive x squared to minus x plus 1. Okay, so lagi yung may plus 1. And then dividing this by x squared, so ang matitira sa atin is plus 1. Then we have x squared minus x plus 1. And then subtracting this would give us 0. Okay, so perfect ang ating division. That means na if you divide this by this expression, then we'll be able to get this answer. And in short, this is equal to the integral of x squared plus x plus 1 dx. And kung mapapansin nyo, ito pala is parang siya, yung middle term lang yung naiba. Okay? Now, kung mapapansin nyo, yung ating sagot is something like x squared plus x plus 1, and then x squared minus x plus 1. Now, imagine, you can also rewrite this in terms of x squared plus 1 plus x. Okay? So, ito yung parang una nating term. Lalagyan ko na siya ng ng parenthesis, no? And then the second term will be x squared plus 1, and then minus x. So, mapansin nyo, para siyang binomial gagawin natin dito, no? So, the first term would be something like x squared plus 1, quantity squared, and then, diba, this one would be minus x squared, based dun sa ating idea nung, sum and difference of binomial. So, this one is a squared minus b squared. Now, if we can, we can expand this in terms of x to the fourth plus 2x squared plus 1 and then minus x squared, which makes perfect sense na magiging positive x squared yung ating magiging sagot dito and then plus 1. Okay, so, yun. Na-check na natin siya yung ating sagot and that is correct as well. So, we can now proceed with integration. Okay. So, the antiderivative of this is simply x cubed over 3. So, napakadali na itong integrate, no? Plus x squared over 2 plus x plus c. Okay, so this is your final answer. And remember, dito sa ating I and G, nag-redefine lang tayo, nag-factor out lang tayo. I mean, yung G, what we did here is long division din, no? Pero parang factoring din siya kasi x minus 1 is a complete factor of ano. Kasi medyo kita mo siya na x minus 1 can be factored out here. Pero unlike this I, yung I kasi parang hindi mo basta makikita yung factor niya. So, hindi ka pwedeng basta-basta synthetic division or any method na magdi-divide ka para makuha yung factor. So, the best way whenever you have any rational expression wherein the numerator has a greater exponent than the denominator, then perform long division. Matik yon sa any type of rational expression. Okay, so we move forward naman sa J. Okay, so now for this expression, kung mapapansin nyo, meron siyang something like denominator na medyo magkamuka, no? Yung dalawang terms, first term, second term. A plus x and then plus a minus x. So whenever you see something like this, no, remember na you have to apply here your conjugate. Okay, so you multiply this by the conjugate, so this will be 2x and then a plus x. Though yung conjugate kasi na term, we usually use that for complex numbers. Pero let's just mean here na yung ating conjugate is pag meron kang positive operation here, then the conjugate would be the negative operation. So this becomes something like square root of a plus x. So syempre yung loob same lang din yan, no? Yun lang operation dun sa pagitan ng dalawang terms ang may iba. So ito yung sinasabi natin ng conjugate. Syempre dapat parehas yan, ha. Hindi yan pwede mag-iba kasi may iba yung ating equation. So ito yung ating redefining na ginagawa using conjugate. So we have here 2x multiplied by square root of a plus x, then minus square root of a minus x. And then how about this denominator? Ano kaya mangyayari sa denominator natin? So with this, we have a plus x, kasi diba may square lang yan, by some difference of binomial. So we have minus a minus x, kasi diba this is supposedly square root of the square root, and this one is square of the square root, which becomes just positive 1. So with this, we can simplify it further into 2x. And then, ito wala tayong magagawa dito, ganyan nasadya siya. So, it will be a plus x minus square root of a minus x. And then, we can divide this by a minus a would be 0. Kasi any constant naman yan would be 0. And then, x minus negative x would be positive 2x. Okay? And can you see it from here na we can cancel out 2x? And now we're left out with the square root of a plus x minus square root of a minus x, which is very easy to integrate. So in this case, this is just an extension of your positive x or square root of x. Remember, pag meron kayong terms na kasama, sa radical sign, kasama niya is a constant. Remember, huwag kayong matatakot, this is just an extension of the rule. Kasi what you need to differentiate here is the inside function. And remember, kung meron siyang kasamang constant na added, hindi multiplied or divided, added or subtracted, you don't have to worry about it kasi basically wala naman siyang effect dun sa inyong operation. So in this case, the antiderivative of a plus x would be something like a plus x. Since this one is raised to 1/2, so this becomes 3/2 and then times 2/3. Okay? So you can check that. Ito pa rin yung magiging sagot nyo, no? And then, di ba, pag inside function, i-differentiate mo, magiging dx lang to, which has nothing to do with this constant a. Pero had this been something like square root of a plus bx, so if your integrand is something like this, of course, yung ating inside function would be inside function natin din dito, and then 3/2 pa rin siya, and then may 2/3. So same lang din yung concept as a plus x. But since this one is a scalar multiple for b, we have to divide that by b as well. Okay, so yun yung ating case na sinasabi ko na if this is multiplication or multiplied by a certain constant, you have to perform the inverse operation for that. But if it's just added or subtracted with a constant, then you don't have to like divide this by a, so hindi yun ganun kasi hindi naman siya multiplied yung x. Yung x yung ating main concern lagi dito, hindi yung constant. So hopefully hopefully nagagets nyo yung sinasabi ko dito kasi mahirap talaga siyang explain sa mahirap siyang explain kasi parang kailangan mo siyang manotice galing sa differentiation na chain rule kung saan yung pinanggagalingan ko na mga multiply, divide. Okay. And then for this one, minus, so same lang din naman siya. So minus 2/3 and then a minus x raised to 3/2, and then this becomes positive. So why is that so? Unahin natin, yung minus galing to dun sa operation na yon. So wala tayong problema dun sa unang minus na yon, di ba? And then yung kanyang derivative, the derivative would be 1/2 plus 1, which becomes 3/2 and then times 2/3. Okay? But remember, this x para siyang multiplied to -1, di ba? And then remember, we need to incorporate the inverse operation of that multiplication, which in turn is division by -1. But of course, we can just multiply it by -1 kasi same lang din naman yung division and multiplication by -1. That's why this becomes positive 2/3 na. And then kung gusto nyo, pwede naman natin na i-factor out yung 2/3 just to make this simpler. So we have 2/3 and then a plus x raised to 3/2 and then plus a minus x raised to 3/2 and then plus c. So this can be your final answer for this problem. Okay? Though yun na nga yun. So yan, yun yung ating pwede maging final answer for this J. Now how about for letter K? Now I want to emphasize in this problem na baka sagutin nyo agad, ay, ang dali lang yan, sir. Cosine to the 5th x over 5. Mali ka doon pag ganun. Why is that so? Kasi, you have to understand na any trigonometric function would employ a chain rule sa differentiation, di ba? So, alam naman natin na pag, halimbawa, cosine x dx, cosine squared dx, di ba? Pag dinifferentiate natin to, bakit may dx? I-differentiate nga natin. So, halimbawa ganyan, no? Pag dinifferentiate natin to, alam naman natin na this is 2 cosine of x. But you still have to differentiate this cosine x, which gives you negative sine x. Which, in this case, para masabi mo na you can use power rule, you have to make sure na you have this sine x multiplied with your this cosine of x. And if you'd be looking at your item here, wala tayong multiplier na sine x. So, you might be thinking na, ay di, lagyan na lang sa multiply natin yung sine x, then divide mo sa sine x. So, kung ganun gagawin natin, di ba? Cosine of 4 and then x times sine x, di ba? And then this one is multiplied by sine x. So, parang ganyan, no? In any case, wala naman na bago sa ating solution. But in this case, we need to let u here yung ating cosine. But how about this sine x? So, di ba, wala tayong magagawa dyan kasi hindi natin siya pwedeng galawin kasi may matitira pa rin sa ating sine. So, in this case, hindi natin pwedeng gawin yung ating redefining in that way kasi walang sense. Hindi natin siya magagamit. So, you can turn over to the next page and you can see there a certain rule at number 3C, okay, especially for cosine squared. That cosine, we use another color. Red natin para matandaan masyado. So, for cosine squared of u, sabi dito, the equivalent here is 1/2 plus 1/2 and then cosine of 2u. Okay. So, this is the property that we'll be using today. Today talaga. Now, so, ito is yung ating property. But what we have to do here is to make sure na this one is in terms of cosine squared x. And then, the easiest way that we can deal with this is to make this something like cosine squared x and then squared. Diba? Kasi we have to make sure na cosine squared kasi hindi man ito tayo pwede gumamit ng cosine to the fourth directly. Diba? So, with this case, that is the integral of using this knowledge. So, you have 1/2 plus 1/2 cosine of 2x, diba? And then this one is of course squared dx. Okay? So I hope medyo gets nyo siya kung ba't siya naging ganito, no? And then of course we need to expand this. So that is the integral of 1/2. This becomes 1/2 squared would be something like 1/4 and then plus 1/2 cosine of 2x times 1/2 will be 1/4 cosine of 2x times 2, so that becomes 1/2 cosine of 2x. And then the last term would be plus 1/4 cosine squared of 2x. Okay. And then may dx pa yan, di na lang kasya. Now, wala na tayong problema dito sa first term, second term, kasi pwede na natin siyang integrate, no? Kasi wala naman itong exponent, so pwede na siyang integrate directly into sine. This one is a constant, so derivative lang. Antiderivative lang ng constant is attached yung ating variable of integration. But how about the last term? Yung last term kasi natin is naka-squared, so we'll still perform this operation as well. So in this case, your final integrand would be 1/4 plus 1/2 cosine of 2x and then plus 1/4 times, so ita times natin to sa 1/2 plus 1/2 cosine, and in this case hindi na siya 2x kundi 4x. Okay, so this is your final integrand. Okay, now we proceed with integration. So the first term would be, gawin natin yung magandang blue. So, yung 1/4 magiging 1 over 4x. Hopefully, kita nyo, no? And for the next term, we have plus 1/2. And then this one is sine 2x. And then, multiply natin ulit sa 1/2 kasi meron dito multiplier na 2. So, plus this one is 1 over 8, so that becomes 1 over 8x. And then, itong last term would be something like plus 1/8 sine of 4x, and then times 1/4. Okay, and I think we're done with the antiderivative. So, ito na lang is need na natin simplify. So, pwede natin pag-add yung 1/4x plus 1/8x, which I think gives us 3 over 8. Okay. Pero syempre, kakalkuhin ko rin yan kasi mali. So, 1/4 plus 1 over 8. Okay, so 3 over 8x. And then, this one is 1/4 sine 2x. So, we can just write plus 1/4 sine 2x. Okay, and then yung ating last term is 1 over 32 sine of 4x plus c. Okay, so this could be your final answer for this problem. Now, you can also factor out 1 over yung ating LCM dito. So in this case, that would be 1 over 32. So if you want to factor out 1 over 32, this becomes yung 3 over 8 natin. So let's try dividing that by 1 over 32. So that becomes 12x. So 12x plus, I think this one, if this is 1/4 and then this one is 32, so this becomes 8. Okay, so 8 nga. 8 sine 2x, and then this one is, since it is 1/2, so mariretain lang siya. Okay, so pwedeng ito rin yung inyong final answer. Pinaka-simplified form. Actually, kaya ako naman nilalabas yung mga 1/32 na yan. Kasi magandang makita na yung, yung function natin sa loob is naka whole number. Ganun. Pero syempre, hindi naman yun, hindi naman yun talaga necessary. It's just that it looks good. Hindi ko sure kung iba yung kulay nito or dito or medyo nagkakaroon lang ng effect dun sa yellow and red. Anyway, baka colorblind ata ako sa pag-iiba-iba ng kulay. Anyway, so ewan ko. Sabihin niyo sa akin kung same lang din yung nakikita niyo kasi kita ko dito is matingkad yung blue, dito medyo light yung blue. Pero actually same pen lang yung ginamit ko, so supposedly same color lang din yan, o baka dahil lang siguro sa effect ng red and yellow dito sa anyway, so pati kulay niloloko na tayo. Anyway, so let's proceed to letter L. Okay, so sa L naman, this one is also an application of the previous example. Now for letter L, so ibahin naman natin yung kulay ng white para sa blackboard kunwari. Sin x, sin 2x, ito yung chalk ko. Then sin 3x. Ayan. Now, in this case, meron tayong rule, yung 3a, di ba? Ginamit na natin itong dalawang sign before. Pero, sin cosine pala yung kanina, no? So, yung number 3a, actually, pwede siyang sin A, sin B. Pero, tatlo kasi ito eh. But, so how do we deal with this kung tatlo siya and then dalawa lang yung sa atin? So, what we have to do here is to select. Piliin natin yung any two of these three and then, and let's see kung ano mangyayari pag ginawa natin yan. So, unahin natin gawin is, pili lang tayo ng dalawa. So, in this case, yung dalawang una yung gagawin ko, but you can freely choose between these three. For example, pwede natin yung 2 and 3, and then pwede rin yung 1 and 3. So, pwede yun. Kung apat pa yan, pwede rin yung 1 and 4. So, basta dalawa lang muna lagi. So, in this case, I'll be doing the first and second term. So, with this, following the rules of sin A, sin B, which is equal to 1/2 cosine of A minus B, okay? And then minus 1/2 cosine of A plus B. So, pag sin, dalawa siyang cosine, but make sure na yung A should be minus B and then the operation is negative. So, hopefully, natandaan nyo siya. So, I'll just be removing that. So, in this case, that will be 1/2. Then, cosine of A minus B. So, that is 1 minus 2x. So, that will be negative x. And then, minus 1/2 cosine of A plus B, which in this case will be 3x. And then, itong whole na to is multiplied by sine of 3x dx. Okay? And then, pwede natin siya ngayon na simplify and then distribute this. So, with this, we can have something like 1/2. Lalabas ko na ngayon yung 1/2 muna dito, no? So, that will be the 1/2 the integral of cosine of, di ba sabi ko before, kung cosine of negative x yan, same lang din yan ng cosine of x. So, in this case, I'll be using cosine of x just to make this, simplified. Kasi, though pwede naman yung cosine negative x. Sige, I'll just be using cosine negative x just to not change anything from the first redefining. So with this case, I have cosine of negative x sine of 3x, okay, and then minus cosine of 3x sine 3x dx. Okay. Now, this first term, we can actually do another one of the rules. So ito, 'di ba, same lang din yan ng letter B dito, which we have already done. So that is sine A cosine B. So in this case, mauna lang yung sine. So in this case, we have 1/2 the integral of 1/2, okay, and then sine of A minus B. And in this case, yung A natin is 3x kasi yun yung ating nasa sine. So this is 3x minus negative x, which gives us 4x, positive 4x na. And then plus 1/2. Tapos, pag sine at cosine, sine siya. So, sine ulit, and then a plus b, which gives us positive 2x. Okay? So, I hope it makes sense na ganun yung ating naging procedure. In-add natin dito sa last term, and then dito is sinubtract natin. No? And then, how about this one? Actually, you can perform this the same way na ginawa ko to. No? With this, pwede natin masabi na this one would be negative 1/2 and then sine. So, pag susubtrakin natin to, diba? Ano mangyayari pag sinubtract natin to? Diba maging sine 0, which cancels out this expression. Okay? And then, of course, minus, kasi distributed ko na yung minus yun. So, maging minus 1/2 and then sine of ano to, di ba pag-aadin natin? So, sine of 6x. So, ito yung matitira. And then remember, pwedeng din nyo to gawin. Di ba alam naman natin sa ating rule na when we have sine 2x, di ba alam natin na this is equal to 2 sine x cosine of x, which makes perfect sense here. If this is cosine 3x, galing siya dun sa double angle of sine, which in this case, that should be something like sine of 6x, correct? But of course, since this one is, wala siyang 2 here, diba? Wala siyang 2 here. So therefore, there should be something like 1/2 here, just to give emphasis to the 2 that is lost in this certain cosine 3x, sine 3x, diba? And kung mapansin nyo, ito rin yung nakuha natin before kanina dun sa ating solution. Parang ito yung yung latter portion nung ating tong rule na to, 'di ba? Anyway, so with this, pwede natin siyang i-integrate. Okay. So, the antiderivative would be the antiderivative of this expression, kasi okay na naman natin siyang i-integrate kasi wala na naman tayong mga exponents, wala na naman tayong mga power, so ano na lang yan, fitting integrand. So I have 1/2, and then this is multiplied to 1/2, and then remember, this is cosine of 4x, so we know quite well na kailangan natin maglagay dyan ng negative sign, so that will be cosine of 4x and then times 1/4. Okay, next, plus 1/2, and then since this is cosine again, so minus cosine of 2x times 1/2, and then minus 1/2, so negative ulit, then cosine of 6x times 1/6 plus c. Okay, and now we can simplify this, so 1/2 and then 1/4 times 1/2 to be 1/8, so then negative 1/8 cosine of 4x. And then this one is minus 1/4 cosine of 2x. And then lastly, what we have here is, medyo naduduling ako sa kulay. So, positive 1/12 cosine of 6x and then plus c. And we can also factor out yung ating LCM dito. And I think hindi naman siya 1/12 kasi may 1/8 dito. So I think that would be 24. So I think that would be 24. So in this case, I'll be factoring out 1/24. So 1/2 times 1/24. And in this case, kung 24 nilabas ko, so this would be negative 3 cosine of 4x. Okay, so di ba 3/24 is negative 1/8. And then in this case, kung 24 siya, so that will be 6, I think. So 6 cosine of 2x. Then for this one, we have positive 2 cosine of 6x. Okay, so plus c. And this is your final answer. Gawin natin itong 1/48. Kasi di ba 24 times 2 is 48. Okay, so this is your final answer for this problem. Okay. So, kung mapansin nyo, hindi naman siya ganun kahirap. Basta make sure lang na na-distribute natin siya properly, and then na-apply natin yung mga properties ng trigonometry. And you can also do, sabi ko nga, pwede natin gawin yung 2 and 3 muna instead of 1 and 2. So, my challenge is you do 2 and 3 or 1 and 3, and then you should be getting the same results. Now, I want to emphasize that sometimes, hindi natin nakukuha yung exactly na ganito yung form. For example, yung cosine 4x, they wanted to perform a double angle dun sa ating solution. Kasi, sometimes kasi, yung ating mga sagot, along the solution, sadyang nagkakaroon na tayo ng iba't ibang sagot because yung properties natin na ina-apply is somewhat different. Pero at dun sa by the end of the solution, dapat same lang din yung sagot. What I mean is, kahit halimbawa itong 6 cosine 2x, halimbawa, 'di ba? Just take cosine 2x. 'Di ba alam naman natin na equivalent itong cosine 2x is cosine squared x minus sine squared x. So, if ever na may gantong result, and then nakamultiply ito sa 6, parang ganyan. Di ba, alam naman natin na this one is still the same as this one. So, in that case, sabihin natin na ito, though magkaiba sila talaga ng form, pero same lang din naman sila. Kaya ito yung sinasabi ko minsan na kapag magkaiba yung pinili natin, let's say ito muna, tapos sa tayo nag-distribute, sometimes, iba talaga yung makukuha mong sagot na form. Pero they have the same they have the same or equivalent. Kaya, same lang din sila supposedly. It's just that you have to have this broad knowledge about the properties of trigonometry kasi alam naman natin na na iba't iba talaga siyang form. Okay. So, yun for this item. Let's proceed to the next one.